Hi everyone, this is Rick Morgan. I'm the director at the Stifel Fine Arts Center, and what I'm going to do is show you a series of videos that are going to be working on a pottery wheel. Each video will have a separate skill or a separate technique that I'm going to show, so I hope you enjoy. Thanks. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to create a bowl on the pottery wheel. At the end, I'll show you a couple different ways that you can alter a bowl. But the first process is I'm just going to make the bowl as I normally make a bowl. So first things first, you always have to center the clay. So looking at the rings on the wheel, always try to use that as your guide to find out where the center is. So I'm going to line my ball of clay. I'm using a little over 2 pounds of clay to make this bowl. So I'm going to take the piece of clay, try to find the center, splat it down on there nice and firm. Check out where I am on the center, kind of pull it back if necessary. Smack it down, make sure that it is stuck on there really well. And then now I can start the centering process. So as I'm centering, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this process, but I focused a little bit more attention in the previous video where I was showing you how to make a cylinder. So I'm going to still center. I'll talk a little bit of how I'm centering this bowl, but then I'll not be as much detail as I was in the last video. So first things first, get the clay nice and wet. Using the palm of my left hand, making sure my elbow is bent at a 90 degree. I'm going to slowly shove this left hand into the clay at the same time, pulling back with my right fingers, kind of right along here, pulling that back up to make this cone shape. Once again, starting at the bottom, pushing it nice and firm, squeezing the clay up here towards the top. Then I rest my hand, my pinky over the top of this clay, let my wrist fall down, so I'm using the palm of my right hand, and I'm pushing with the palm of my hand as I slowly make the clay go down, 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 down. Each time I'm doing this, I'm just placing my hands on the clay, and then I build up pressure, never attacking the clay and then hurrying up and letting go. All right, same thing. I'm going to center this up one more time using the left heel of my hand, squeezing that clay up here nice and firm, easing up as I work my way up here towards the top, and now I'm going to slowly push it back down. So using my palm, slowly pushing on that clay, letting it collapse, falling down, and then I slowly ease my hands off of that clay. So now that I have this clay centered, I'm ready to open it up. I make a peace sign. I like to use my middle finger, kind of make a little dent into that clay first, add a little bit of water to it, and now using my right finger, I'm using my left hand to drive it down into the clay. And as I'm pushing down, I want to ease up as I get close to the bottom because I don't want to go too far to where I make the bottom too thin. But if you notice, because I'm angling my finger out here, it kind of wides that clay out so that now whenever I go to make the bottom, I'm going to use my 2 fingers, make a claw, and then slowly start pulling it back towards me. And as I do that, that's going to stretch that bottom out, and then add a little bit of water to it so it stays nice and slick. And I'm using just the pads of my fingers, pushing on the center, and working my way back out here towards the outer edge, and then back in here towards the center, and then back out here towards this outer edge. I'm pressing down just enough to make that little bit of a spiral on there. What that does is that helps realign that clay so that I don't get any cracks across the bottom, all right? So now I'm ready to make this thing get a little bit taller. So what I want to do is I slow my wheel down a little bit, and as I slow it down, I want to have it go at a manageable speed that I feel comfortable with, and this is going to change for each person. Sometimes if it goes too quick, you feel like you lose control, but if it's going so slow, it's hard to make even contact around there. So I'm using my sponge. I'm going to add some water to the clay on the inside and add some water to the outside. And I'm using my fingers, and I usually use my middle finger and my ring finger, or the 2 fingers that I'm pressing the clay in. So normally, when I want to make something up tall and skinny, I'm just using my outside hand and pushing in. That's what makes the clay come up. But because I want to make a bowl, I'm going to use equal pressure with both fingers and then slowly pull it out. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to slowly push my fingers in to get that clay to move. And now I'm using both fingers to pull up I'm gonna make that bowl get a little bit taller, and then I ease off the pressure as I work my way up here. So by doing that, it makes the clay wants to go out into a bowl shape. So you're just kind of allowing that clay to do that when you control it with your fingers, all right? So next time I'm gonna come down here, add a little bit more water. Once again, there's always plenty of clay on the bottom, so I like to stay down there longer and then work my way up. And then as I work my way up, ease off on the pressure. So pressing down here nice and firm, kind of getting that clay to move a little bit. And now slowly stretching my fingers up, up, up and out, and then easing off the pressure as I work my way up here, all right? So now that I've done that, I want to just focus on one thing that I think a lot of people may mess up on whenever you're making a bowl, is you end up creating a flat bottom and then a sharp edge to where your bowl is. What you want to do is make it nice and curved. And the way that I like to do that is I like to use the pads of my fingers and I press on the bottom, so I kind of press down and then out rather than just right on the outer edge. If I just keep on hitting the outer edge, it usually makes a flat part and then that V comes off here. So I'll show you what I mean here. I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna start kind of like in the middle of the bottom, slowly pushing down and then out to these fingers, and then now I slowly curve that bowl up and up and up. So by doing that, it helps really create a nice curved bottom. If you're having trouble with that, sometimes there's some tools that you can use rather than just your fingers. You can use a rib, and the ribs are designed to have that nice curve on there. So this one is a little bit more curved, whereas this one has more of a flat edge. And just by using that curve, you can press the rib, and whenever you're doing the rib, you want to kind of let the rib curve out this way so that the clay is running across the rib like that. Never in this way, because that's when it's going to gouge it. So just kind of letting it rest right on here. I can slowly push that rib down onto the clay, and then I can use my fingers to help push it along that rib, and to also do that same curve that I was looking at that I was able to do with my fingers. All right. So once I get a bowl and it's something that I like, I always like to just kind of smooth off the edges, whether I take out my sponge and kind of mop up any water that might be around there, kind of clean this all up here and clean up the bottom edge. Now, you're usually always going to leave a little bit of extra clay down there on the bottom of a bowl, and that's important to keep that shape so you don't lose it. You can trim off some of it so that you don't have to fight with it too much after the fact. So I can use either a wooden knife, where I take the wooden knife, kind of come over here, undercut it just a little bit to get rid of some of that extra clay. So I'm just kind of pressing it down there, help scrape off that clay at the very bottom. I angle the knife in this direction. As I slowly get the wheel to turn, I'll scrape off some of that extra clay. Come over here, start it again, until I get it all the way cleaned off there. And that just kind of helps clean up the bottom so that whenever you take it off, you're not fighting with it too much, all right? Definitely you have to trim a bowl. That way it really gets off that extra clay on the bottom and you're able to match the outside with the inside. But there's a couple other alternatives that you can do. Right now, this is a nice bowl. I like it. I can keep it as is. If I wanted to give it a little bit of a lip, I could still do that now, and while it's still nice and wet. And so all I want to do is just take my outside hand, which is my right hand below. My inside hand is just going to lightly push it out. And then you can see how it gives you a nice rimmed bowl. I can kind of clean up some of the water on here. And it just gives you a bigger edge like that. Another little difference that you can do is we can square this bowl off a little bit. So the way that I do that is I stop the wheel. I usually look where the pinholes are. It kind of gives me a guideline. So right here in the middle, I'll come over and I'll push my finger down and into the clay to kind of help stretch it out that way to this pinhole. Come back over to the other side, do it over here to this pinhole. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split the difference. So I'm going right here, pushing it in, stretching it like that, and coming over here and splitting the difference and pushing it in here like that. So that now, as I'm looking at my bowl, I can see that it's trying to square off the edges just a little bit so that it kind of looks more square all the way around here. And so now you have this unique looking bowl rather than just a perfect flat bowl. I still will trim this, even though that I've squared it off on the top rims. you can still flip it over and trim the bottom. Just to show you how to get this off of the wheel, I usually add a little bit of water down here. Take my wire cutter, pull it nice and tight, wrap it around my finger one time, push it down nice and firm, and then drag it all the way back towards me to where it cuts off. And then I will use some pot lifters to scoop this up. So go under one side, wiggle it under here, wiggle it underneath the other side, and kind of pick it up off of the wheel, and then I can set it onto my wear board. And then, here you go. Here's a nice little squared off bowl. Thanks for watching.